Title: The Forgotten One ***. Deep in the woods of Maple Hollow, hidden beneath a tangle of twisted roots and overgrown vines, lay a facility known only as Site 99. The townsfolk whispered of the strange happenings, claiming that those who ventured too close never returned. Yet, for Jamie Wilkins, curiosity often overshot their better judgment. At 17, Jamie knew of the peculiar lore surrounding the area, stories of monstrous entities and paranormal occurrences. Emboldened by a thirst for uncovering the truth, Jamie gathered a few friends, planning to break into Site 99. "Are you guys really up for this?" Sarah, Jamie's best friend and a skeptic by nature, folded her arms. "You know these stories are just urban legends, right? Urban myths or not, I want to see what's going on in there," Jamie countered, excitement bubbling in their voice. "The Foundation is supposed to have the coolest stuff." Jamie grinned, oblivious to the unease on their friends' faces. It was after sunset when they made their way to the foreboding facility. Rusted metal barriers and overgrown foliage obscured the entrance, which was nothing more than a gaping maw against the dusk sky. Peering inside, the group saw flickers of red lights and heard distant, mechanical whirs. "Maybe we should just go back?" Sarah's voice trembled, breaking Jamie's exuberant focus. Jamie rolled their eyes, pushing the door ajar with a creak that echoed through the still air. "We're just going to look around a little. Come on, it'll be fun." As the group stepped inside, they were greeted with a stark contrast to the outer world. Dimly lit corridors, stark white walls, and the ominous silence that seemed to absorb every noise, leaving only the heartbeat of anxious teens. "Look, there's a command center," Matt, the bravest of the group, said, gesturing toward a room filled with outdated computer screens, papers strewn everywhere, and blinking lights. An air of unease settled around them. Suddenly, Jamie spotted a black file labeled SCP-053 on a nearby desk. "Hey, check this out." Jamie shuffled through the pages, their face illuminated by the dim screen light. As they read, the words sent chills down their spine. SCP-053. A child that induces madness and violence in adults upon contact. "What kind of joke is this?" Matt scoffed. "It's probably just a creepy story." But as Jamie continued reading, a faint whisper echoed through the hall, a voice of a young girl, almost melodic, calling out to them. "Help me," the voice echoed, a delicate plea bouncing off the walls. "No way," Sarah whispered, her face paling. That's not funny, Jamie." Ignoring the protests, Jamie followed the sound, believing they'd find a wayward spirit or a secret. This led them deeper into the facility. Each step felt heavier, as if invisible ropes tightened around their throats. They entered a large containment chamber, vacant except for a small window at the far end. Inside, an eerie darkness loomed, before shapes began to materialize in the shadows. The silhouettes of a little girl, her hair cascading down like a waterfall, and around her, ethereal remnants of adults, expressions tormented and hollow. "Help me, please," she implored, her voice a mystical choir of innocence. A shudder ripped through Jamie. Something in the girl's eyes sparked a horrifying realization. This wasn't a game, nor was it entertainment. The girl was SCP-053, and what lay behind her was the true foundation of horror. "Guys, we need to go," Sarah whispered, her voice quaking with fear. Now, as they tried to retreat, the room trembled. The air thickened with malevolence as an unnatural wind swept through the chamber, the girl's voice turning into a scream of despair and rage. The adults around her shrieked loudly, growing increasingly aggressive. They lunged toward the doorway, where Jamie and friends stood frozen, paralyzed by terror. "Run," Matt yelled, pushing past Jamie. The remaining group scrambled back through the hall. But the path closed in around them, the facility shifting like a living organism. Doors slammed shut. Screams erupted. The shadows twisted into monstrous shapes. Faces once melancholic now contorted into nightmares, reaching for them as they sprinted. Finally, they burst through the main exit, breathing in fresh air. The oppressive weight lifted, but not before Jamie caught sight of the little girl standing at the doorway, her eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. "Help me," she whispered one last time, fading into the darkness as the facility sealed itself once more, an eternal prison for her cursed soul. Jamie and Sarah stumbled down the path back to town, nearly tripping over roots in their frantic flight. Behind them, they could still hear the echoes of screams, the whispers, and the turns of reality as they turned sharply into the forest. Neither would ever speak of that night again, but from that day forward, they felt a gnawing fear when the wind blew softly through the trees, an urge to never return to Maple Hollow and its haunting legacy. Even now, as an adult, Jamie still remembered the SCP files, the little girl's eyes, and that chilling promise. Some stories were not merely myths, they were warnings, meant to keep the light away from darkness lurking in forgotten places.